Father, do we have time for another song?
Is it Love Train?
It kind of goes in line with your tongue.
So I just want to say, I love this retreat. I really do. But it does take a lot of work, and it is amazing. We have these volunteers who make all the meals, get up here early last night, planning the whole thing. So even though they're not back there, they refuse to come forward. They're right back there. Tara and her crew, guys, thank you for all your hard work. God bless you for all the food you serve. So, as you guys head back to the kitchen, we're going to play Love Train. And, oh, I have my prayer. So, want to start with a prayer again, but I lost it. So, this is from one of the Psalms. So, in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. At last, our feet are standing at your gates, Jerusalem. Jerusalem, built as a city of compact unity. There all the tribes go up, the tribes of Yahweh, a sign for Israel to give thanks. For there are set thrones of judgment, thrones on the house of David. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Peace be within your walls, prosperity on your place. For the love of my brothers and my friends, I will say, peace upon you. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. So, this talk is going to be a little bit different. I call it Saints on the Camino Now. And so, I want to talk about kind of a Camino. So Camino is this 500-mile journey to the resting place of St. James in Spain. And in my former parish in Meridian, there's these two guys. Now, they weren't Catholic, but two guys, best friends. And one day, they're watching the Steve something, European something or other. Yeah, whatever. Anyhow, and he's going over the Camino, and the two friends are watching it. Now, these two friends, amazing, best friends, they're born at the same hospital. They went to the same grade school. They went to the same church in Weiser. Yeah, it was Weiser. In Weiser, best man of honor, whatever, best man at their weddings. But one of them got a neurological disease where he slowly had lost muscular control. And they're watching this, and they just love this idea of the Camino. So at one point, the guy who's in the wheelchair sees this. They're excited about it. And he says, I want to do that. And his best friend says, I'll push you. But after he says that, he realizes, oh, what did I just get myself into? Because he's in a wheelchair. But he made a promise, and his friend is not going to be around that much longer, so they're going to do the Camino, and he's going to push him. And they turned it into this little book, and it's called I'll Push You. And the story is, they actually spoke at my parish. We did a men's retreat, and they led it. Even though they weren't Catholic, it was really good. And along the Camino, they kind of have this deeper conversion. And so they're at one point where he's pushing his friend. They've had a specially built wheelchair on this La Mesa part of Spain. And it's a boring, dry part. And as he's pushing his friends, kind of, he said it was like all these TV monitors were showing of his life. And suddenly, he kind of sees all the mistakes he makes in his life as a father. And he has this conversion that his life is not going to be the same. That when he gets back to the United States, they are going to do it completely different. And what he discovered is, and it sounds strange, on the Camino, this great need for each other. Granted, he was pushing his friend, but they give this great talk that friendship made their lives better. really kind of funny story because they're in junior high, and I just find this funny that they said, boys do stupid things when they say, "I wonder if." And they tell the story that, one was they're making snowballs and trying to make it through a basketball hoop. The only problem is the basketball hoop was above somebody else's garage, and they kept missing the basketball hoop and hitting the front window. So this guy, I don't know why, I shouldn't tell the story, but I think it's funny. This guy comes out and starts just screaming at these boys, "Why are you throwing snowballs at my house?" And they don't understand why he's upset because they're just trying to make baskets. Why is he grumpy? But he said, the entire of their friendship has made their lives better. They would go on vacation together, and this is kind of key. And he said, our friendship made us better. It made our marriages better. It made us better fathers. And the marriages, he said, a lot of men make the mistake of making their wife their best friend. And why that's a mistake is, and I just thought that was brilliant, where he said, my wife can't tell me things without me getting upset. You know who has to tell my wife that I've been a jerk? My best friend. He said, I don't like the way you were treating her. So he said, our friendships have made us better fathers, better husbands, made everything better. And when he's pushing the wheelchair and sees all these TVs in his entire life, he's got to change. And the whole time that they're on this Camino, not only do they need each other, they need a larger community. Like at one point, a wheel breaks and it has to be wheeled on, and they thought it was going to be the end of the journey. Well, they're in the Basque country, which I love Bascos. They're in the Basque country, and the Basque find out about it. This guy has a broken wheel. And all these Bascos on their own arrange the whole thing. They take him to a welding shop. They get the whole thing repaired because that pre-existing community were friends with each other, not with them. Does that make sense? And at one point, they're going up kind of this muddy hill, and there's no way you're going to push the thing up a hill. Suddenly, and this is the part that amazed me, suddenly these other pilgrims show up, and they decide, we'll carry the whole thing up the hill. And one of the guys is this guy named Richard Parson, who went to Bishop Kelly High School. His parents are one of my best friends. And Richard said, yeah, we were just there, and there's a wheelchair. No way they're going to get up at this mountain. So we all just, even though they're all strangers, Richard says, no, we're going to do this. And anyhow, time and time again, they make each other better. Now, this part, I don't know why I think this is funny. So he's in a wheelchair, so they're checking into someplace. He would wheel his friend, and he's tired, and he kept doing this, wheeling and putting him there against the wall to go check in. And his friend says, could you point me facing outward? But the whole time, there's no way they could have made the 500 miles in a wheelchair without a pre-existing community along the way that people just came together. So when he's on the mesa and sees all these TV, it suddenly hits him, this huge revelation that, wait, isn't this what church was meant to be? If we're a stranger traveling through, what if a church community existed where everybody was friends and I heard somebody needed help and they all just kind of come together? And why he mentions that is that both of these, not getting into it, both of them belong to a type of Christianity that is very rule-dominated, very condemning, who is, to be condemned. It's not a religion really based on friendship, but on very anti-Catholic. But he has this revelation, this is what church was supposed to be. And my point being is that along the Camino, Christ is now forming us into what church is meant to be. We're supposed to be on this journey of becoming more and more church. So, little Hebrew, you have to journey to the promised land. So, in Hebrew, do you know how you say a holy day? It comes from the word leg, because this is a big theme. They have to be a pilgrim. So if you're Jewish and you greet somebody for worship, you say modin. What are you saying? You're not really saying have a happy feast day. What it means is have a happy walk. So remember, for you to worship, and I know I mentioned this at Mass, so don't tell me I didn't say it. In the Old Testament, you need 4 things to worship. First, you have to have a procession, a walk. That's why it's called a leg. Reading of the law, a sacrifice, and then a dismissal. So a holy day is a journey. So I love that. And when somebody's mourning, like Kara, lost her husband Jed, right? If you're Jewish, what you would say when somebody's mourning is ha mokim, which means may the place give you comfort. I love that. May the place give you comfort. And one of the names of God in Judaism is the place. God is the place. A holy day is a day of journeying to the place, God. And the place is a place where God and humanity will be completely united as one. God is a place, but our religion is this journey. And the place, by the way, is heaven, where ultimately all of us will be one. So I keep repeating this, but Catholics and Jews are a communal religion. We storm the gates of heaven together. No offense, if you study Protestantism, you go to heaven alone. But the big theme in the Bible is a journey. From Adam and Eve, there's a journey. Abraham takes a journey to the promised land. Moses takes a journey to the promised land. Jacob takes a journey. Joshua takes a journey. Even Christ takes a journey. And if you're Jewish, speaking of Camino, hopefully you know this. If you follow the Old Testament, all Jews 3 times a year are to climb Mount Zion. You're to climb a mountain and stand before the face of God. But you have to do it as a community. So I love that. That's why I open with that psalm. Jerusalem, that's where all the tribes go up. When it talks about Jerusalem, it's not really talking about the city. It's talking about heaven, this place of compact unity. And so where does Christ go? Christ starts in northern Israel, journeys with his disciples up to Mount Zion, dies, but the journey doesn't end there. His ascension is the journey ends in heaven. And so we literally call ourselves a pilgrim church. That's very Jewish. We're on this journey, and on the journey, like the 2 guys, I'll push you, we're supposed to be having deeper and deeper conversions to what church means. So that's why we have the procession. Where you guys are seated is called the boat. So we process in, but before you enter the sanctuary, you bow. The sanctuary symbolizes heaven. Heaven is always pictured as a mountain. And so the reason why we climb the steps to the altar, it's kind of handicapped, inaccessible. But the idea is we're all on this journey to the mountain. Before you enter the tabernacle, yet once again, journey the mountain. Mountain is a really big theme. If you notice about the tabernacle, so does that make sense why we climb the steps to the altar? Or remember, Moses journeys and then he climbs the mountain, and at the top of the mountain is God, and they're going to take this journey. So God is on the top of the mountain. But if they're going to take the journey, God takes part of his presence and puts it in the tabernacle. So the tabernacle symbolizes journeying with the people. The top of the mountain is always with us, even though we're journeying to the top of the mountain. Does that make sense? So the top of the mountain is with us, journeying with us to get us to this place of compact unity. And so how do you get to the top of the mountain? Practice, practice, practice. And here at St. Pius, I want us to be on this Camino of greater and greater unity to the top of the mountain. But in Judaism, or in the Bible, you never get to the top of the mountain alone. You have to go with other people. We go to heaven together. And the prayer is, along the way, we change. We get ready for the place where God and us are one. And we're climbing a mountain. We carry other people with us. When Israel left Egypt, what led the procession? Bone? No, the ark is in the middle. What's that? Well, okay, that's God, but okay, I'm being inexact. The bones of Joseph. They carried the dead with them. On our journey, we carry the dead with us. Does that make sense? They're not separated from us. They're journeying with us. Does that make any sense? No, I lost you on that? Well, I don't know what to do with you people. But even like that idea, this month we've been reading the letter of Hebrews at Mass, which really is so complicated, but it's amazing. The letter of Hebrews, Paul wrote it, all plays with this idea of journey and mountain. Mountain is a really big theme in Scripture. The Gospel of Matthew is nothing more than 7 mountains. Luke is 10 meals. Matthew is 7 mountains. It's a very Jewish idea. Remember, the Garden of Eden was on top of a mountain. So in the letter of Hebrews, St. Paul says, Christ has ascended the mountain. He has entered the heavenly temple. So he's not talking about Mount Zion on earth. He's talking about heaven. Christ has entered the Holy of Heavens. And there, remember, in the center of heaven is a what? Altar. And the center of heaven, Christ has ascended, and now he is the one and perpetual sacrifice. So he has this image of all the saints and angels, and in the center is God, Christ, as this perpetual offering. So there is the great meal. And then St. Paul says, I just think this is amazing. He's describing this heavenly image of ascension, of all the angels and saints, and then he says, and that's why you go to Mass. What? It's a strange twist, because God has ascended the mountain of God, heaven, entered the temple of there, and that's where true community is. And Christ is the meal of true community. So he's saying, when we gather together for Eucharist, we're sharing in that same meal. All the angels and saints in heaven and us are sharing the same meal. The only difference is they've completed the journey. We're still on the way. So I love this. So St. Paul is saying the same sacrifice at the altar is the same sacrifice in the heavenly altar. And he's saying that it takes a lot of work to ascend the mountain of God, where we're losing our selfishness more and more and more and becoming more of that community of heaven. And this is the amazing part. He says on that mountain, that's where at the end of the journey, you will discover where you always meant to be. You will discover there your true self. So this image of heaven, does that make, this sounds kind of strange. Think about the Camino. He's pushing the thing and he's looking at all these TV and he realizes all his mistakes as a father. And so he decides once he gets back to the United States, he's changing his life. So on the way, St. Paul is saying, that place in heaven where all the saints are gathered together as one, that's where you'll discover your true self. Your true self is not here on earth. You're still supposed to be changing and changing and changing, getting ready. Your real self is what you'll become when you're completely united with God and other people in heaven. So I love that. We gather together to be part of that city of compact unity, the one feast, but we're still on the journey. Now, I want to pause for a second because I'm worried I completely left you blank. Does that make sense to what I'm saying? Okay, I love this. So we gather as a church to become more church. We gather as a church to become more ourselves. So St. Paul says in Hebrews, there's 2 cities, a heavenly city and an earthly city. In the heavenly city, all those angels and saints in heaven, and I love this, they're rallying for us. They're cheering us on to climb the mountain. They're not separated from us. The heavenly city wants us to continue. And I mention this because hopefully you guys know this. This year is a jubilee. And as a jubilee, it's supposed to be a whole new restart. And the tradition on a jubilee is to make a journey. So I love the retreat in a way is making a journey. Does that make sense? And along the way, the journey, we're not alone. All those people in heaven, they're begging us, cheering us on to keep going. So one thing I want to do, we can talk about this later, is when the weather's much nicer, but we're still in a Jubilee year, I want to have a Camino. I want to cancel a Saturday night mass and have us all take a journey, I don't know, to Higgins Point, take a journey and celebrate mass on the top up there. It's very biblical. Does that make sense? But no, we live it out. It's very scriptural. We are the love train. And it's actually a huge tradition. In the book of Lismore, it's a Celtic tradition that if you belong to the Celtic church, once a year, it was just expected. You would have to take a journey. And so somewhere to discover something new, and then you see your home different. And so in a Celtic blessing, the blessing is an open gate. That you're always called to experience a new world and a new sense of yourself and the community. A curse in the Gaelic world was to enter a field but not be able to get out of it. We're meant to be constantly changing and becoming closer and closer to each other. St. Brendan, remember in the boat? That was their Camino journey. So back to that original story of I'll push you, his great revelation is, this is what church was meant to be. I mean, they grew up with a sense of religion that was about who to condemn, don't dance, don't do this, don't do that. But what if he realizes, religion is about relationship? Literally, the word religion does mean relationship, not abstract theology or rules. And along the way, we discover each other. We discover the power of community. We even discover our new selves. So the odd part is they did these studies on religion. People that actually practice religion regularly are more accountable. They have better marriages, better fathers. Jung did the study, 74% better marriages. Community is not just good for us. Like he said, no, our friendship made our marriages better. So I mentioned at the very beginning, the call of the 12. The Gospel of Mark starts with the call of the 12. The call of 12, he goes up on a mountain again and calls the 12. But the call of the 12 is to become a church. And he calls them by name. But yes, Christ is always calling us to join this community. So the call of the 12 is to climb the mountain together. And climbing the mountain is supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be hard. So we lose our silliness. We change. Him pushing his friend, that whole story is a story of what it means to be church. But notice, along the way, the saints are always there begging us on. And so, did any of you guys, I put it out on Facebook and Instagram, see that video clip of the doctor? Just curious, not that you had to, just curious, how many people saw it? Oh, well, not that many. Because, maybe I should retell that story, but I don't remember it. But it's this ER doctor. He just gives advice. But for some reason, I think he broke HIPAA regulations. I'm not really sure. But he tells this story. Correct me, Mike, because I forget the whole thing. He tells a story about, I think it was their daughter. They had a pool. And the daughter drowns in the pool. They go to the emergency room. And the daughter dies but is resuscitated. And the father's freaking out. And the father says, this is all my fault. And the doctor is a young ER doctor, probably 35-ish. And he's saying, you can check it out, the clip yourself. And he says, no, it's not your fault. Accidents happen. No, this is my fault. It's my fault. And he said, you don't understand. When I was a kid, I was raised by my grandparents. And my grandparents said, don't go down to the river. And I went down to the river. And my grandfather jumped in and saved my life. But he lost his life. So he's completely destroyed. I lost my grandfather. Now I've killed my daughter. And they resuscitate her. And the little girl, when they were what's the name she said? Sam or Jim? Sam? Says, oh, no, Sam was there. Sam was holding my hand. And no, Sam was there. And said, so she describes Sam. And the father hears this, and he goes to his phone, and he puts up a picture, and he says, is this Sam? And she says, yeah, that's Sam. That was his grandfather. He was there with the daughter. Now, my only point being, I could tell you many stories. I just like that one, but I could tell you many stories from my parish life. The saints are with us. They are pushing us on more and more and more. The letter of Hebrews, the book of Revelation, we think they're separated. They're not. Real reality is that they're always with us, begging us on to continue the journey so that we're always changing. But the saints are here to make our parish more united. I know we say that we're church, but we're really not. I'm sorry, we're not. You know where we'll be true church? The place. When we finish the Camino of legging it out, then we'll truly be church. This is just a shadow of what we're meant to be. And so I want us to be really on this Camino. The saints are urging us, become a better and better and better parish. So I just had this idea, I'm going to change this. Am I done? Are you upset and leaving? Oh, okay, Deacon Chris got upset. This is what I have to live with. But I just, this sounds kind of strange. How do I say this? Oh, I know how I'm going to say this. Sorry, I'm going off on my own. This sounds kind of strange. People are not moved by facts. Anybody who says that they're logical and they work by facts, they're a liar. Their pants are on fire. We don't. I'll give you an example. Let's say I ask her, give me, let's say she says, I can give you 100 reasons, 100 facts why cats are better than dogs. And she lists, and she lists them off. Well, all those facts could be correct. But you know what's really going on? It's a story in her head. And the story in her head is she was terribly bitten by a dog when she was younger. She's allergic to dogs. Her mother, who she loved, always had a cat. It's not facts that change us. It's a story that's playing in the background. Does that make sense? What's the shortest distance between two people? A story. People think facts change. Facts don't change. And listen, I love facts. I love studying theology. But it's story that really changes people. When he's pushing his friend, he sees his life in review. And the story changes. He sees these Bascos who he doesn't even know suddenly come out of nowhere to help him. He sees these people come out of nowhere to carry up the hill. It's stories that matter. We first have a story, and then we attach facts to it. It's not facts and story, it's story. And we want the story of our parish to be the story that we're on a Camino. None of us are perfect. Along the way of the Camino, we get better and better and better. We challenge ourselves to be better friends and husbands and spouses. It's our unity that changes us. That's our story. Our story is we're climbing the mountain of God and we want to become better and better and better. Our story is unity and love and hospitality. That's the story that I want for St. Pius. That's stories people get a hold of. Nobody joins a parish because, wow, those people teach a lot of theology. And I love theology. They join because it's a place of hospitality. These people are moving in a direction. Does that make sense? That's what I want our story to be. We're a Camino. We're a united people trying to become more loving, more welcoming, more accepting, so that we all discover our true selves on the top of the mountain. So at this point, I forget what we're doing next, so Deacon Chris and Mary are going to come up here.
We are.
Okay, good.
Now that I went and got the microphone.
Oh, that was it.
So, just briefly, turn to page 13. We'll go through the reflection questions to spend time on, the last 5 of the day, and then move into the back. So, how does the concept of religion as a relationship, not just as rules, challenge or affirm the way you practice your faith?
How has spiritual friendship or companionship in the church helped you become a better spouse, parent, or person? How can you nurture these relationships further in our parish?
Reflect on the compact unity of the heavenly mountain described by St. Paul. How are you preparing yourself and your community for that unity?
How can you carry others, family, friends, or even those who have passed, on your Camino toward God?
And what does it mean to you that the Eucharist is not just a personal encounter with Christ, but a shared communal act with all the saints and angels? How does that idea motivate you to keep climbing the mountain with hope, even when the path is difficult? So we have our 10 minutes of personal reflection in here. And then on your way back through, this will be the last set of snacks that are out. So collect some snacks, collect some drinks, and mosey your way back into the hospitality center where you can spend some more time in the last bit of time with group reflection, if you will. So personal reflection, snacks and drinks, and then some personal or some group reflection back in the back. And then we'll come back there and tie it all off in the afternoon.